My forehead. There you are. Legless chef. I want to talk a little bit about that maybe later, but like I can't remember his handle. But you wanted to join. Not a lot of people want to do that. So how you doing? We're gonna wait a couple minutes, and then once we get some people, looks like a lot of people are joining now. So I got Q&A with Jeff Bauman. It's 9 a.m. I guess we could start getting going. How you doing today, Jeff?
Good. How are you doing, Aaron?
Good. You can hear me okay?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can. Wonderful. Just get a shot here. Well, welcome everybody. My name is Aaron Holm. I'm the manager of consumer engagement for Ottobock North America, and thrilled this morning to have a little conversation with Jeff Bauman. And Jeff is an American author and chef, obviously. He lost both of his legs during the April 15th, 2013 Boston Marathon bombing attack, and was the subject of a famous photograph taken in the aftermath of the bombing. The 2017 film Stronger is based on a memoir of the same name he co-wrote with Jake Gyllenhaal portraying him. Again, thank you for joining me today, Jeff. 7th anniversary of your injuries, of a very traumatic day in many people's lives. So, first of all, thoughts and prayers go out to the ones we lost on that day, the people we never really knew. We've gotten to know some of the families. So definitely thinking about them today. But what about you? Do you celebrate this day? Do you remember this day? Does it come and go? Or some of us call it our alive day because it was certainly a traumatic event in our lives. How do you reflect, or don't you?
Yeah, I hear that a lot, the Alive Day. I think that's a pretty interesting concept. It's like a second birthday,
Sure.
or like a first birthday. But I really, it's been 7 years since I got blown up and lost my legs. Since I live in the area that it happened, I'm only about 20 miles from Boston. It is, it's kind of a big deal. It's all over the news here, and a lot of survivors do like little interviews still, and just kind of, remind everybody. And it was such an interesting time when it happened and what happened after. It was pretty crazy. We haven't seen anything like that up here.
Yeah,
300 years.
it's memorable for the community. I was only about 4 or 5 years into my,
Yeah.
walking with prosthetics post limb loss. So it hit me pretty hard, and I wanted to certainly be involved and help any way we could. So yeah, absolutely. But joining us on this day, to me is special because I lived a lot of this with you and 16 other people that lost limbs through that day, and the families and everything. So really, thank you very much. And thank you from Ottobock. Before I forget, so many of my colleagues told me to say hello, and not just in North America, but globally. You've impacted the organization and the people that work here. So
Yeah.
thanks and hello to that. So
An amazing company.
what's that?
It's an amazing company.
Yeah, thank you. We believe so too. So going back to April 15th of 2013, can you share some of your memories of the day of?
It was my first marathon. I wasn't running. I was there spectating in the crowd, watching my ex-girlfriend run, and I was with a bunch of friends in the crowd, and a kid bumped into me, and he looked very suspicious. And next thing I know, he was wearing a big backpack. And next thing you know, I saw his backpack on the ground, and he wasn't there anymore. So I thought it was very suspicious. And probably a minute later, I saw a flash of white and heard 3 pops, and I was on the ground, laying down on my back. And, I lifted my head, and I could see my injury. I was fully conscious through everything. And my legs were just completely shredded off my body and blown apart. And luckily, there was a lot of chaos, a lot of smoke. And I just, I thought I was going to die. So I kind of stayed very calm and laid down, even though people were like jumping over me, running over me, and in this crowd of body parts and blood pretty much. And
Yeah.
it was very traumatizing at the time, I guess. And then I started to really focus on staying alive. And luckily, this guy and people were coming to help and coming into this situation and helping. And guy Carlos, the cowboy hat, if you guys pull up the photo, he jumped in and ripped the shirt and tied it around my leg and around my right leg, and I held my left leg. And then a tiny little volunteer girl came over with a wheelchair and saved my life, got me to the hospital. So, and then it was recovery time. And then I woke up and started to meet new people, and I met you. I was very fortunate to meet you, and you were a double AK, just like, you know, I was at the time. I am, and it was really just a recovery process was just starting. So you know what that's like.
Yeah, and I remember showing up early on, and it was incredibly publicized. I know you were kind of under lock and key, protected a little bit more than some of the others, and very incredibly publicized event. So many variables, so much going on. The manhunt for these individuals that were accused of bombing, you know, setting the bombs, your involvement with identifying them. How did you focus on recovery? I mean, even I remember Spalding moved from one location to another. They had a brand new building that they built. There were so many things involved with just focusing on recovering from the injuries that you had, and how did you focus? How did you remain focused through all of this?
I think I was just young, so I was able to cope with everything. Just I think my age had a big part.
Sure.
I was like 27 at the time, and I was pretty active. So I really just wanted to be normal again. That was my focus. I just wanted to be able to walk, and I didn't really know what to think about the the Geniums when I first got them. That
Yeah.
was a really driving factor. I didn't like my. I know some people are bound by a wheelchair, and I very well could be. If I didn't choose to use my prosthetics, I'd have to use a chair.
Yeah.
So I really just wanted to walk and be normal again. That was my pushing. That was what drove me.
Sure. And that's when I look back, the time between the injuries and actually being fit with the prosthetics seemed to be the longest time. You know, world of uncertainties. You're thinking about the prosthetics. You certainly can see pictures of them or videos of people using them, but you really don't have any idea. You know, you have medical appointments, plastic surgery appointments, orthopedic surgery, physical therapy, building up that upper body strength. You're going to depend on that more than ever. Did you do some PT at home, some work with your upper body, or?
Not at first. I really, like I said, I was young, so I was just going off what I had before. So at first, I wasn't doing any PT, and then I started this outpatient kind of intensive. It was outpatient. I'd show up to Spalding like 3 days a week,
Okay.
sometimes two when I called out. But my PT then, you met her, Michelle Kirsch.
Yeah.
She was giving you crap when you came in.
She certainly was. Yeah.
It's like 6 years ago, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, she really pushed me, and she knew if I didn't she's like, you're not putting on your legs at all. You're not doing anything. So at that point, it was just like put on your legs and like move around. Like that's what you have to do. So, you know, a year out, that's all you're pretty much focusing on is this leg time. How much you can stand, like how many times you can put your legs on in a week.
Yeah. How much time between your injury and when you first started the cast and fitting process of the prosthetics?
So I got blown up in April, and I was getting casted right after I got my sutures out in June. So like 2 months.
That's an incredible healing process. I mean, that's fantastic. Do you remember putting them on for the first time, your prosthetics, putting that socket around your residual limb and
Yeah.
what were you scared? I mean, were you like, this isn't what I was thinking, or do you
Well,
remember?
like I was in the chair for 2 months and almost 3 months at that time. And as soon as I could really stand and get pushed through my sockets and feel my go like feel the ground through the
Yeah,
you can feel the ground pretty much. And push through. That was amazing. That really drove me, like you asked before, because that felt really nice. And I was in parallel bars, and I could actually like move the knee and start to get it to move. And that was just that was a driving force because that was amazing to just feel the ground again
just
through your
standing up
residual.
again. Yeah,
Yeah,
just being able to stand up again and being, 5 foot whatever was
yeah,
incredible. Yeah. Um, yeah, that brings back some memories for me as well. I could not. I started out in sea legs, and I had issues. Like I said, you watch videos and you read the manuals and things like that, but just getting the initial, back then it was toe load that would get the knee to trigger a little bit. So I struggled a little bit with that. With the Geniums, it's a different little upgraded technology. So, but I remember standing up, and that's when I learned about proprioception. You talk about feeling the ground, and yeah, standing up, but I didn't feel the ground. If you shut your eyes, you're kind of like, where am I in space and time?
yeah,
And that's what really I think took me aback, shocked me per se, that is like, okay, I don't know if my knee is bending when I'm taking a step, and so it's kind of like, okay, I really have to learn to trust this technology. And that's what you did for a long time. I mean, after that, it took several sessions, several physical therapy sessions.
oh yeah. I mean, way more than that. Yeah, I still second guess my knees all the time, walking over grass and tripping over things. It's pretty nuts, but
Yeah, yeah.
the technology is unreal.
I get asked all the time, how long did it take you to get used to those, walking in those prosthetics? And it's every day, but the more you use them, it's becoming second nature. It has become second nature for me, where I've learned to trust the technology. And I think, you do too, that at first though, you're questioning that, it's like, is that really going to work the way, it's
Yeah,
supposed to work? The stumble recovery and all the technology that's built into these prosthetics. Um, so your recovery time, your physical therapist, your time spent with Michelle at Spalding. Um, how long was it until you went back to work?
yeah. I worked at Costco wholesale, and then I went back to work probably a year after my injury, close to it.
Okay. And
And I
how
was
was
staying.
that?
That
How was
was
that?
it
Busy
was
retail?
yeah, it was brutal. I mean, if you've ever been to a Costco, it's like concrete floor.
Yeah.
But my coworkers were so great. They were just like, I got moved to the TV section. I was selling TVs and electronics. And if I was standing for like more than a half hour, I was getting tired. And it was hard on the concrete floor on my limbs and in my back. So they
Sure.
would just be like, go sit in the recliner over there. And then I felt bad because they would be like, go sit now. Like they would force me to go sit while I was working, which was pretty funny.
Yeah, but that builds up your tolerance too. I mean, I
Yeah.
suppose that every day that you worked, you probably built up a little bit more and more resistance to that, and you felt better, I'm sure. But it
Yeah.
affects your lower back and things like that, just standing too long, and yeah.
You,
But
you build up the muscles and then over time you build up your muscles and then your body
yeah,
starts supporting itself.
yeah. Once you were accustomed to walking, becoming more and more, getting more, spending more time at home, things like that, and work. What do you recall? And it's probably, the answer is probably everything. But what do you recall being the biggest challenge, or what were the biggest changes for you? When I'm asked that question, it's like I seem like I do the same things, but maybe just slower, more methodical. Are you pretty much back into that lifestyle you were accustomed to prior, just a different approach to it, maybe?
Exactly, that's all it is. It's I think when people go through like a devastating injury like you and I have been through, even like a single leg below the knee, you're still going to have time to encounter your old situations but in a new way.
Yeah.
And you just adapt. And like you said, like some days I don't feel like going through a walk in the woods, but I have a really great girlfriend that pushes me. She's like, "Let's go. You're getting your butt in the woods, and we're gonna go for a walk." So, um, it's definitely tougher to do stuff now, like getting your mind to go and do stuff. But then once you do it, you realize, hey, I can do this again. And
Yeah.
like you said, it might be slower, might not look as great, but you can still do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And your friend is a physical therapist,
My
which
girlfriend,
I
yeah, my
think
girlfriend's a physical therapist.
I think that's great, man. You're going to get pushed and
It's brutal.
accomplish more than you want to.
She's amazing. Yeah,
That's awesome.
more than I wanted. Well, she actually got me to. She's the one that made me play the sled hockey. She really pushed me into it. I know you were trying to push me into it like 6 years ago, and Dr. Crandell is Spalding, but
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't listen to you guys. So
No, you certainly didn't. And
yeah.
I retired and you jumped into it. So I stopped playing sled hockey and then I talked to you and you started. So
I know I didn't get a chance to lay you out on the ice. So
yeah, well, I was looking forward to something like that, but I mean, you'll eventually have to catch me, but
I know
we'll get on the ice
I
together.
couldn't catch you. I couldn't.
So walking in the woods, you're obviously becoming very accustomed to the prosthetics and trusting them. You're at that stage. So fast forward a little bit. In the introduction, I read that you co-wrote a memoir. And by the way, that was pulled from your Wikipedia page. So how do you get a Wikipedia page? Did you do that, or did somebody do that for you? That's pretty cool. But was
Yeah,
that
I paid somebody. You have to pay like massive amounts of money, Aaron. It's crazy.
All right, I'll
kidding.
talk about that fundraiser for my Wikipedia page later. But so writing a memoir, was that your idea? Were you a writer, or did you just feel you had a story to share, or did someone kind of nudge you with that and say this would be a good idea?
I have a great friend. Her name's Caitlin Townsend, and actually Caitlin Knox, and she was a friend of a friend, and she came in and she knew a lot of people that did inspirational stories, and then she got me hooked up with a company in New York, and my book agent Anthony Matero, who's amazing, and we kind of just met. And I said no. I was like, I don't want to tell my story. I was like, and they're like, it's a great story. You got to tell it.
Yeah.
So, and then my family pushed me and they pushed me, and I said, yes, let's do it. And we worked and we pulled in this guy, Brett Witter, who helped me tell my story and write it basically. He's an amazing author. Brett Witter, I think he's out of Georgia, but he did like Monuments Men.
Okay.
And a bunch of inspirational stories. So he's a great guy, just a tremendous guy. Working with him was awesome. He just spent like 2 months with me and banged out a story in like 9 months. So.
Wow. Okay. And as we all know, the book was released and well received, and then ultimately that turned into a movie, Stronger, based on your life before the Boston Marathon and up to the day and beyond your recovery. And you were played by Jake Gyllenhaal. And then all of a sudden you went Hollywood on us. So what were those days like? You were traveling. I mean, I would talk to you and you were all over the place. What were your thoughts on that? All of us, I mean, that was a light switch right there, just total change in direction.
Well, I did a lot of public speaking. I started that I was still in my wheelchair when I started public speaking. Caitlin, my friend, got me some gigs around my area, and then eventually I got signed with a speaking agency. So I was telling my story all over North America, basically. I remember I did like 5 in 1 week, like all in the Midwest. I was flying through, I flew through your area a couple times. I think I texted you. But with the movie, it was really nuts. First, it was like very small. It started as a small production. And then we got David Gordon Green, who's an amazing director. And Todd Lieberman's the producer. And he produced a lot of movies, Beauty and the Beast, Wonder. I mean, you can Google all these guys. They're awesome. And then I went out, and then the project was kind of dying down a little bit, and I think Jake really wanted to boost it up. So he came in and kind of lit a fire under it and saved it and pushed it really hard and poured his heart and soul into it and really believed in my story. So everyone did. Everyone involved really believed in my story. And yeah, I got to travel and go to the Rome Film Festival, which was really fun.
Sure. Yeah.
Where else did I got to do the Toronto Film Festival, which was amazing. I got to do all these really awesome things. So
that seemed like, I mean, it was only what, 3 years ago, but it seemed like you were on that tour for about a year. I mean, you were promoting that and going, you're on a lot of the talk shows and you were bouncing around quite a bit for a while.
Yeah, we did 250 interviews in 2 weeks.
250?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah, I couldn't have, I mean, he was always kind of like, Jake's really caring. He's a really caring guy. So he's like always checking on me, calling me, like he was calling me, checking in, you know, being like, you're okay, you can do this. And I'm like, because he does it all the time.
Sure.
That's nothing for him. But
yeah,
he was always checking on me, making sure I was okay. So I got through it. It was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. I bet you were kind of happy to get back to life.
Oh my, yes.
Yeah.
I got home after that 2 weeks and I think I slept for like a day and a half and didn't talk to anybody.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet. I can imagine. That's total change of lifestyle. And like I said, kind of a flip of a switch. You had mentioned a meeting when I met your physical therapist, but I want to talk about that a little bit. It was the first time that you and I met, I think, Spalding Rehab. Your family had invited me into one of your sessions, and I walked in and you were in the middle of a session with Michelle, and I was excited. I was like, all right, you know, finally get to meet Jeff. We've been talking a little bit, and I remember seeing a bilateral above me walking for the first time, and how that, you know, that helped me out considerably, just knowing it's possible. So I was just excited, and I approached you, and Michelle looked at me and she said, "What in the hell are you doing here?"
Yeah, she's like that.
And it was just like, okay, I'll certainly wait until the session was over. I thought she would embrace as well and be, you know, but that was her time. And that's the kind of physical therapist you want, is the one that is devoted and dedicated to your time and has goals and objectives for each session and an ultimate outcome for you and works towards that. So I was very impressed with her. And then after that session, we got to spend some time together walking down the hallway and
Yeah.
just, I remember you just kind of being glued to my needs and how they are responding to every step, because it was so new to you. So certainly a memorable day, and looking back, you know, 7 years ago when it happened, and then all the things that occurred after that, all the heal, recover phases that I was able to kind of help you work through. So very cool. About 6 years ago, we had a conversation, and you told me from your heart that you were pretty scared. You had a major event coming up. You were going to be a dad, and
Yeah.
you were really nervous about being somebody that wears prosthetics or has a disability. And you were concerned. You didn't know if you were going to be able to do it. I mean, you just were afraid, I think, of being a dad and keeping up. Now Nora is how old? 5?
5, yeah.
5 years old. How are things going?
I mean, I saw a comment. I can read these comments. So
Yeah.
I think a girl just asked, like, how she's asking about amputees and relationships and how that works. I mean, and being a dad and I mean, any relationship, I mean, not just,
figure it out, right?
Yeah, you figure it out. Relationships are tough in general for anybody. But like you said, yes, I was very scared about being a dad at that time.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to be a dad where I could like run and do stuff with my daughter and you know, pick her up, which I eventually learned how to do and
Sure.
hold her. Even though like we fell before, and like she knows that, she remembers that, so she's like, I don't want you to fall with me again. So that hurts. Like you go through stuff like this.
Sure.
but I told you the story. I was she's in kindergarten. She started kindergarten this year, and I was her mystery reader. And like you have to write down clues, and it's like on my last clue, it's like I have prosthetics. So she like instantly knows it's me, and she's really excited. And then I walk into the classroom. There's like 15 kids sitting Indian style on the rug, and I walk in with my legs, and their jaws just drop and hit the floor, and they're like, "Oh my God, it's a robot!" Like, and then like Nora comes and like tackles me and hugs me, and like she's like, "This is my dad," and like they're all kind of like, "Oh my God," and they're like, some of the boys come stand up and run over and like start touching my legs, and they're like, "Can I touch him? Can I touch him?" So. And then I sat there and answered like questions for a half hour from all these kids that were just so interested in my legs and
Oh, sure.
didn't even care about me. They was like talking about the legs.
They didn't listen to the book reading either. They're looking at your legs.
They were looking, yeah, they were looking at my legs. Seriously, I finished the book and every hand went up and they started to ask more questions about my legs. And
it's pretty cool. I love that. I mean, and you see, go ahead. If you see a question that you want to address too, go ahead. I remember I was asked to read at a school, and I didn't know a lot about the school. I didn't do enough research. I just kind of showed up, and it was like 3rd and 4th grade kids. And I got up on the stage and I shared my story, but I'm thinking sharing my story to a bunch of 3rd or 4th grade kids is kind of scary. I don't want these kids going home and their parents saying, "Who spoke to you today?" But so the whole time that I was sharing my story, I was really nervous about being done with it and then addressing questions. And, I spoke for 15, 20 minutes, about the time that I figured I could keep their attention. And then I said, "Does anybody have any questions?" And the first question was, "Do you have a dog?" So they didn't listen to my story. They were looking at my legs, the robot legs, like you said, and their minds are going all over the place. And do you have a dog? So that's great. And I love the mystery. I love the mystery reader story. Somebody asked a question about how you stay active, or what sports do you do in your free time? And you talked about sled hockey a little bit. Getting into that, are you a forward, or what position do you play?
Yeah, I play center. I'm a center.
Okay.
So
a center. Okay.
I cover a lot of ice.
You do? Okay.
I try to win face-offs. Yeah. I can't. Sometimes I play some really tough competitors that are just better at face-offs than me.
It's an art. It's something you got to practice. Sir.
Oh, I'll grab their arm. I don't care.
The refs, what's beauty about sled hockey, the referees often don't know the rules of sled hockey, so you could really take advantage of that.
I run the game. I'm like, hey, I used to be a ref. I used to be a ref.
Oh, that's great. Okay, you might end up talking me back into it, so I can come out east and play against are you the Bruins, or you're Spalding Rehab?
We're the Spalding Shamrocks. We play for Spalding. Yeah.
Okay. The Shamrocks. All right. So you had mentioned something else when we talked about a board that you bought, because you can't play sled hockey now. Everything's shut down, but you're staying in shape by using some sort of balance board, or what is it called?
Yeah, it's a scooter board. That's actually one of the perks of having a PT as a girlfriend. Yeah, I can grab it for.
I want to see it. You'll have to send me some video of that. But I mean, you're working on your core strength with that. You're sitting on that, and you're using like trekking poles, right?
Yeah. So here's the scooter board. So it's just like a regular square scooter board.
Okay.
Right, and you sit on it, and it's got the nice big rollerblade wheels.
Oh, you're all over the place. There's no forward, backwards. That's all over.
Yeah. So you're really spinning around, and then
you're forced to use your upper body to control left and right, and
you use your poles. So I got these trekking poles that I use, and I rigged. It's got some wear on them. I got some kind of tape these on the end.
You just do that on the sidewalk or the parking lot, or how do you stop?
Yeah, so you have to really plan your stops, and it's tough, but I do it in an empty parking lot, or a tennis court is really nice.
Oh, sure. Got the fences to stop you.
sidewalks and roads are kind of tough because if you're going at a good rate and you hit like a pothole or something, you're gonna fly off the board.
Sure. Yeah, I
Yeah.
could see that. That brings a little excitement into the activity, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's just mainly to keep my upper body trained.
Sure.
But the hardest part is, in sled hockey is like the upper body, the speed. You want to get your speed up, but also the transition from going from pushing on the ice and then down to shooting position. That's the hardest part for me. That's tough.
Yeah, a lot of people out there don't know what sled hockey is, but if you go to YouTube and check out sled hockey games, there's a lot of USA, Canada games that are incredible to watch, Paralympic games.
Those
It's a
guys
global
are.
sport. Germany, France, Italy, they all have teams, and I love watching it in the Paralympics, but
It's amazing.
I try to get to a tournament or two every year as well, just to watch a little bit. But keep telling me I keep telling myself I might come out of retirement just because of it's just such a great sport, cardiovascular. I mean, you can't get that anywhere else, especially in the Boston, Minnesota winters. There's not a lot for us to do. So sled hockey's been an incredible sport for us. Somebody asked, going back to your Hollywood days, did you meet anybody you have always wanted to meet? But I know you met a lot of people at Spalding or in your recovery as well.
Let me see. That's a tough question. I don't know. The coolest person that I probably met was like Conan O'Brien.
Okay.
Because he's a Boston guy, and as soon as I met him, like he was giving me shit, like he was like giving me crap, like joking around with me. He told me I couldn't come in the building. He's like, you can't come in, and I was like, oh, come on. And then he was so nice. He was amazing. Really a tremendous guy.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. And you're in school now. You're at Lowell, UMass Lowell, studying.
Yeah, I have 3 more weeks left, and then I finally get my bachelor's degree in legal studies and psychology.
Okay.
So it's pre-law, basically.
Pre-law, so you're going to be arguing. You told me you're a good arguer, so
yeah.
You ultimately want to get into being an attorney?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'll get a business card from you as soon as you are ready to represent.
Yeah, oh yeah. Maybe we could run some insurance, get some insurance going.
I love it. And speaking of insurance, I remember your case going back to that day, but we talk about your case quite a bit. Your insurance company stated that they would cover 50% of your prosthetics. So that was interesting coming from a bilateral.
That's one leg.
Okay, so I mean, you and I can't hop or jump, so we would have been in trouble with that. But I had a question for myself here. First of all, are you still playing the guitar?
Yeah, oh yeah, all the time.
That's good therapy.
Yeah, Nora's, my daughter's starting to play. She has like a little ukulele, so she plays a little bit. She likes to sing. She likes Taylor Swift and all the new music, so she loves to dance.
Taylor's talented, that's
yeah.
I don't admit that to a lot of people, but she's an incredible talent. What do you think about the new Bob Dylan song?
I haven't heard it.
Haven't you?
Bob Dylan?
Bob Dylan just came out with it's 15 minutes long, and it hit #1. I think I read it was his first #1 song ever. So you'll have to listen to it. It just came out like last week or 2 weeks ago. Seriously.
Really?
Yeah. Somebody asked, how do you feel about the beach? And I could address this. Do you walk on the beach, the sand?
I don't like to. So I have my geniums.
Yeah.
I have my geniums. I do not want to get sand in my knee.
Yeah.
I like to keep my knees like the best I can because they're how I get around. So I'll take my knees off my sockets and put on my stubbies, which are my short legs.
Okay.
And then I'll go and truck on the beach. It's incredibly hard, but it's a great workout.
It's a great workout, yeah. And with the prosthetics, it's almost like walking on ice. I mean, the sand, if it's sandy, it's a very challenging for bilateral. I can do it, you can do it, but it's a lot of work, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, cool. I love talking to you, man. I'm glad to see, looking back at how far you come. Super proud of your accomplishments and you know what you endured, what you overcame, and where you're at today. It's so great catching up with you. And anything else you want to tell people or share or?
No, I would just like to thank you guys at Ottobock and Wiggle Your Toes. You have a tremendous organization that you run.
Thank you.
I mean, you got me one of my legs that to start out.
Yeah. Well,
And a hand cycle. You've hooked me up over the years, Aaron.
yeah, we got to get hand cycling too. You've got a nice
I
Imano
have.
bike out there, and you
That's
know,
great for training.
absolutely, absolutely. But I think we could chat for an hour. But I know you've got studies to do, and
I'm
you're
almost done. Yeah, I got to finish
almost
it
done.
up.
Couple weeks left, and you're.
Yeah, May. I'm out.
I hope I can get out there this spring, this summer, and we can get together for dinner. So stay safe, stay healthy, and you know, very much appreciate you spending your alive day with me today, Jeff.
Thank you.
All right, you take care.
All right, stay safe.
All right, you too. Bye now.